Folks, welcome to Unconventional Wealth Show. We've got a very exciting show today. We're going to talk about how supply is down with affordable housing, which means a big thing as far as the prices. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Folks, welcome into the show. I'm Coach Pete DeRuda, your financial coach, and I'm joined with Mr. Mike Conwin, who is an expert and multimillionaire. Mike, welcome in.
Hey, thanks for having me, Coach Pete. Appreciate it.
Yeah, now, you've made a lot of money in the housing market.
Correct.
Made a lot of money in the financial markets. And you can tell the viewer right now, I think the secret is you buy when others are selling and sell when others are buying. And if you have a big supply and others have a big demand for your supply, you make money, don't you?
Absolutely. And, my specialty is affordable housing. I just happened to stumble into it years ago. But really what the thing with affordable housing right now is, the demand is just through the roof, especially since 2008, 2009, the recession. But the supply has gone down every year for the last 20 years. So it's a big problem for America, but it's a big opportunity for investors.
One of the classes I took in college, Economics 101, was the supply and demand curve.
Yeah. Correct.
And consumption function. If people are buying, you want to be the one selling, right?
Absolutely.
And if people are selling, you want to be the one buying. And so what we've seen, I want to start off here. Let's talk about, I want you to define in your words, and everyone has their own definition, but I think yours is a real good one. What is affordable housing?
Yeah, affordable housing, I think you break it into more of an income range for people, and basically affordable housing is for anybody who's making anywhere from $8 to $14 an hour.
Okay.
That's my resident. And in this country right now, there's probably 35% of the country is making that range of income.
Okay, so that's affordable. You need to have housing that's affordable for the folks in that age, or that, not age, but a lot of the folks that are younger, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But in that income demographic.
Yep.
And so, and banks a lot of times will look at it in a different way. They'll say, well, they'll do different loans depending on what the price of the house or the living arrangements are, right?
Correct.
So if you're out there investing in real estate, the affordable housing to most people who can afford to start investing in real estate is $150,000 to like $400,000. Is that the good range that banks will actually loan money on?
Yeah, I think and from a residential standpoint, you're looking at stuff like that. If you're doing a single family house from an investor standpoint, it's probably $100,000 as your starting point.
Right.
You can find a little bit less. I do multifamily, obviously, so that's going to range all over the place, anywhere from low end 500,000 to multiple millions.
Let's talk about the supply right now, because you said the supply is low.
Yep.
And matter of fact, you say it's at about a 20-year low as far as supply for the big affordable housing complexes.
Correct. And if you think about it, what's happened, you look at in Raleigh, as we all see, see all these cranes going up in all these brand new apartments. Those apartments are like $1,500 a month for a one bedroom, and a family can't afford that on some of the wages that they're making. So that's happened. And then what's happened also in the last 20 years is a lot of the mobile home parks, affordable apartment complexes have been scraped for mixed-use developments or nicer stuff by developers. So the supply's even dwindled of what was left. And I think the third thing is that a lot of the cities don't want affordable housing. It's sort of a bad taint to it. Maybe doesn't make the neighborhood as great and stuff like that. So you got a lot of things against you from a supply standpoint.
I go to Aruba about once every couple of years. Mm-hmm. And when I go, it's interesting. I take tours around the island. It's a very small island, easy to get around. Have you ever been to Aruba? Yeah. And the funny thing is, you've got the resort properties right on the coast, right? But if you go back 3 or 4 blocks, you're in the affordable housing section. But the affordable housing section has all the folks that are working at the resorts.
Correct.
So when you say that cities don't like affordable housing, you need that because those are most of the workers.
Absolutely. And, you think about the growth in jobs over the next 15 years or so, the number one growing jobs or the top 10 growing jobs are all $8 to $14 an hour, home healthcare workers and stuff like that. And these people have nowhere to live. So from an investor standpoint, it's a great opportunity. Again, for the country, it's a big problem that I don't really know how it gets resolved, but something needs to be done.
So when we talk about the high-end apartment complexes, is that a good investment too, or is that a little tougher there?
That's big-time institutional developers and stuff like that. So I think, if you're in that range, that's where to go. There's still some room in the Class B and C apartments, some older stuff where, mom and pop investors can get involved. But really, anything that gets into multiple millions is all institutional now.
There was a term that we've used in the financial world from the very beginning, and it's budgeting. And everybody hears that and says, even our government can't budget, right? Because you look at the national debt going up and they can't balance a budget, but they can print money. The average household, that we know of, can't print money unless they have a printer in the basement, and then the Secret Service would be interested in that. But there was a study, and a baby boomer is basically 51 to 65 ages right now. And as an alarming study you and I were talking about, 40% of folks in that age category have not saved a penny for retirement. Matter of fact, they probably have debt, which will keep them from saving in the future.
What are those people going to do? And, the number one income demographic for all of our mobile home parks or mobile home communities has been seniors. And it's really gone up. And the fact that all these people think they're going to live off Social Security, the average Social Security income for a person is $16,000 a year. That's not going to cover a whole lot. And so that's going to force a whole category of people, more people, and increase the demand for affordable housing.
Yeah, so when we look at the fact that we're talking about people not saving anything, but when they reach 65, their expenses are going to be over $50,000 a year, and Social Security, which everyone says, hey, it's going to take care of me, it's only going to pay about $16,000 to $18,000 of that. So where's that shortfall going to come from?
Either people are going to work till they're dead, basically, which is a scary thought, and in low-paying jobs probably at that stage of the game. And I think the other thing that's really scary for people is medical costs are going through the roof, and Medicare is obviously getting trimmed back a little bit here and there. And, so the average, medical costs for seniors are going to go way up, and they don't have the income to cover it. It just means they're going to need some more affordable housing.
So the result of that is more demand again when people. So the demographic cliff is what Harry Dent talks about.
Correct.
And did you see him speak with me? In New York?
Yeah, we were in New York.
He's a great speaker, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's great.
He's off the cuff. So, but what it looks like here that is it's a great investment for the future because more people are getting older.
Absolutely.
More people aren't saving like they should. So there are more people going to need affordable housing.
Yeah, and
it's a no-brainer when you think about it.
In my niche, which is mobile home parks, it's somewhat of a stigma. It's the old trailer park stigma. So nobody really wants them. A lot of the communities don't like them. They just don't feel like the tax base is strong enough. But at my parks, the demand is through the roof. We have waiting lists at every park that we have, and if you do it right, you're going to make a lot of money in the investment. But you have to do it right.
And again, doing it right is buying at the right time.
Correct.
And not overpaying. And the fact is, when people get excited about it, they actually get their wallet out and way too many times. The excitement level clouds up their judgment.
Absolutely. And, we've talked about it a little bit, in the past couple of shows, is I think it's gotten to the point in the real estate cycle where it's gotten too frothy. I'm basically a net seller at this point. I'm still buying a couple things here and there, but they're harder to find. So I'm more of a net seller right now. But I think the other thing that we need to talk about, too, is if you're going to be an affordable housing landlord, you need to reinvest in your properties. You can't be a slumlord. You're going to lose your money real quick.
So reinvesting means keeping it in good condition and not letting it fall apart, making sure that you don't let the wrong person into the park, right?
Absolutely.
Because that'll ruin everything. Sort of like putting a bad player on a professional football team.
Correct.
You see that every now and then. A football player goes wild on the sidelines, start attacking other players. That's not good for the whole morale, and that would not be good for the investment in the long run for your park.
Absolutely. You have to do background checks.
Yep.
You're talking about having a cancer in the locker room or whatever. You don't want to have that in one of your communities because that brings in more bad people and more bad will. But stuff that we do as far as paving the roads, putting in new playgrounds, putting in soccer fields, doing community events, they really don't cost you a lot of money. But the dividends that they pay and the less turnover you have in them, with residents and the fact that they want to stay, it's amazing how it is.
As a tax coach, one of the things I tell business owners to do is to spend money on your business because you can write it off.
Correct.
And so you are helping yourself by keeping the quality good, but you're also helping yourself when it comes to tax time.
Yep.
Double play.
Absolutely. So it works for everybody. And if you reinvest, the one thing that's been amazing to me, and I was sort of alarming when I found out about it, is a bunch of our residents didn't have enough food at the end of the month. And so we went to some of the local charities and got them to bring in their food trucks, and we pay them a little every month. But initially people were leery about it, but now it's just huge. People come out at the end of the month, they get a bag or two of groceries, and it's been really a great thing.
So, folks, what we talked about today, the supply and demand curve, how to have it in your favor, how to make sure that you take advantage of the demographic cliff coming up where people aren't saving what they should. So you as an investor could really benefit from investing in the right place, but you have to do it at the right time and at the right price, right,
Absolutely.
Mike?
Yep.
And, folks, that's the show this week. Join us next week for the Unconventional Wealth Show.